On the news, Senate debates on ongoing electoral amendment bill as fundamental to restoring public trust. House of Representatives passed for second reading a bill to ensure timely presentation of the country's budget cycle. Plus, Nigeria and Algeria signed memorandum of understanding to strengthen democracy. Hello and welcome to Parliamentary News. I am Abubakar Galadima. Senate has passed the bill to establish the Nigerian Mines Rangers Service, which is expected to positively impact the mining sector by enhancing security, promote economic growth through revenue generation, and prevent unauthorized mining. Senate is also proposing life imprisonment without option of fine for defilement of minors. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The Mining Rangers Service Bill will, among other things, secure the mining sector by curbing illegal mining, in which Nigeria records an annual loss estimated at over $18 billion.
This bill will, in very great measure, help us to tackle the scourge of insecurity in this country.
If these mine rangers are established, most of the mining sites will be manned by these rangers, and we are hopeful that the mines now will be reactivated.
Also today, the lawmakers considered the Criminal Code Act Amendment Bill forwarded for concurrence from the House. Senate made amendments to some clauses, one of which approves life imprisonment with no option of fine on any person found guilty of defiling a minor.
So that it will serve as a deterrence for will-be offenders.
The motion has been moved and seconded that any defilement of a minor in Nigeria henceforth should carry life imprisonment. Those in support say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. They are not here. But is there any option of fine? No option of fine. So the motion is carried.
Meanwhile, Senate passed for second reading bill to enact the Nigeria Social Security Trust Fund, which seeks compensation for work-related accidents.
Is to harmonize existing laws on social insurance and employees' compensation. That will also result to cost saving, a more coherent approach to the issue of employee compensation, whether as a result of injury at work, occupational hazard, or evil death.
Employers' compensation should also include even the public sector, for emphasis.
There is provision for punishment for defaulters.
The lawmakers passed a resolution commending President Tinubu for his choice of appointments and support to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, which has led to milestone achievements.
Activities of EFCC during this period contributed to enhancing Nigeria's image, both locally and internationally.
I also want to urge the chairman to continue on what he's doing in terms of fighting crime in this country. The President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces be commended for his support to EFCC in ensuring that the agency is able to realize its mandate.
Presidential appointees for the National Population Commission were also confirmed by the Senate. In the meantime, Senate has condoled the minority leader, Senator Abamuru, over the demise of his son in a road accident and a granddaughter who succumbed to illness. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The quest to uphold the January to December budgetary cycle has gained some traction as the House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill to ensure timely presentation of the country's annual budget by the executive to the legislature. National Assembly correspondent Mitare Ikpen brings us details of this and other resolution at plenary.
The Constitution Alteration Bill on timely presentation of the nation's annual budgets seeks to cure the problem of late presentation by the executive or delayed consideration by the legislature. The bill, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu and 4 other lawmakers, proposes reforming the budgeting processes to ensure that fiscal operations are timely and lead to genuine development outcomes.
These inefficiencies not only undermine economic growth but also erode the public trust in government ability to manage their resources responsibly. This bill offers a structural remedy by embedding discipline, transparency, and long-term vision into the Constitution to guide budget process at all levels of governance.
In another resolution, lawmakers call for a probe of all federal government grants to states and local governments outside FAC allocations. On the recent face-off between Pengassan and Dangote Refinery over sacked workers and union activities, the House resolved to revisit the matter to protect national interest.
If private investment of strategic national importance are continually subjected to unlawful disruptions by adversarial unionism, Nigeria risks not only the failure of key economic assets, but also the erosion of investor confidence.
Nigerians are looking for private investment. Any private investor that is coming to Nigeria, he's going to look at our laws. Are we implementing our laws first? So we have to be seen to be implementing our own laws. So that's why we are calling on honorable colleagues that an act of parliament was breached in taking a resolution by the government.
This motion is referred to the Council of Leadership of the House to be headed by Mr. Speaker.
Also up for probe by the Green Chamber is the utilization of $4.6 billion foreign grants meant to reduce the burden of HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria in the country. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
The ongoing amendments to the Electoral Act is fundamental to the restoring public trust, reduce post-election disputes, and empowerment of the election umpire to function without interference. The Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2022 today scaled second reading at the Senate as legislators across party divides express support to deployment of technology, setting clearer and stricter operation guidelines for political parties and imposing tougher penalties for election offenses. The Senate is of the opinion that all elections must reflect the will of the people.
Also, electoral matters because it is assumed that whatever INEC does is perfect. So this time around, the INEC must be held responsible because they are the ones that have the electoral materials and they are the ones that are in charge of logistics and all. So we must give them some responsibilities in court to prove that yes, indeed, their actions were legal and their actions were in tandem with the will of the people.
President Tinubu has, in the meantime, transmitted to the Senate list of appointees for confirmation, among them a ministerial nominee, Dr. Bernard Mohammed. The 2027 general election may be a new experience to Nigerians, going by amendments being canvassed in the Electoral Act. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that some highlights of the amendments propose conduct of presidential and governorship election by November 2026 and conclusion of all elections litigation before swearing in.
The Electoral Act amendment exercise is being conducted for the 8th time since the return of democracy in 1999, essentially to address identified shortcomings after each election cycle. Voices at the public hearing call for reforms for enhanced transparency, accountability and inclusiveness.
Experience has taught us that perfection is a pursuit, not a possession. The law we make today must correct the weakness of yesterday and prepare the ground for the victories of tomorrow.
Our democracy rests on the credibility of our elections, and unless these contests are freer, fairer, cheaper, and less contentious, we endanger the Fourth Republic.
As Nigeria prepares for its next electoral cycle, the decisions made in this room and by this institution will have far-reaching implications.
The proposed Electoral Act 2025 seeks amendments in 20 sections, some of which will enable prisoners' voting rights, real-time transmission of results, and increase of campaign funds.
Replacement of members of legislative houses without by-election, which was also a proposal from INEC trying to look at way of costing costs.
The objective is not to serve the interests of any political party or group, but to safeguard the integrity of our elections and build public confidence in the democratic process.
Presentations at the hearing also pointed to areas it hopes the National Assembly would address.
political office holders, elected representatives, appointed representatives, the aides of ministers, governors, even of presidents, cannot enjoy an unnecessary level of suffrage over the selection of the candidates of party.
With regard to the appointment of the chairman of INEC, we feel that the process should be changed. The president should not directly appoint. The National Judicial Council should appoint.
We also want persons with disabilities who are voters to vote early before the official date of election.
While the exercise progresses to a third reading at the two chambers, some of the proposed amendments to the Electoral Act, like notice and time of elections, are however tied to amendments of the Constitution, which is also ongoing. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
IPAC wants the executive to be stripped of powers to appoint the INEC chairman and commissioners. In 2015, an incumbent lost the presidential election. So, is it about who is appointed as INEC chairman or about having a foolproof electoral commission?
Thank you. You see, there are components, that makes a whole. So, and those components, if there is an anachronism in the functionality of such components, there will be, the whole will not function very well. You understand? Agreed. The INEC chairman is not an emperor, so he works within a set of rules, and then he has commissioners. He had resident electoral commissioners across the 36 states and the FCT. So what we are saying is we are trying to overhaul the entire system. We didn't single out only that. There are so many other things that we talked about. Most of our recommendations, are many. This is just one of them. So one of the recommendations outside the appointment of INEC head, and then the national commissioners and regs, we talked about election being conducted in one day, so it doesn't disrupt economic and academic activities. Everybody will concentrate on. We also recommended that winners of election, or claim winners, shouldn't be sworn in until such litigations surrounding the victory of the winner is terminated at the court, so that the person does not use the paraphernalia of office to his own advantage. There are so many.
IPAC is proposing an independent appointment committee that will appoint the INEC chairman. If the Electoral Act is amended, what will be the composition of such a committee?
The composition one, as it stands today, what is wrong, or why we're saying is wrong, it's not different from football. There are so many players in the game, and then one among the players is allowed to nominate the referee, even though there are a set of rules. But he's a human being, he has sentiment. Because the referee also has the capability of overruling some things. You understand? So what we are saying is that the position of INEC chairman should be thrown open to Nigerians, and for whoever think is eligible, and meet the requirements, can openly seek for that position. And then after having passed through a screening committee of the security agencies, then the agency will now vote. The agency will now comprise of all the political parties, civil society organizations, and maybe the Nigerian Bar Association. So then they will now vote for that position. So if the parties vote, whoever emerges at least will come through a process that is deemed to be inclusive and transparent. This is just what we are saying.
Talking about transparency and credibility of the electoral process. If political parties are funded by the government, will it not amount to a compromise of the process?
No. Why? You see, we are funding the government. What is independent funding, subvention, to political parties. Political parties belong to different they belong to the public. So what means that the people now own the process. As it is today, the political parties that have people, maybe people occupying government office or executive office have more leverage, okay, to implement some financial exercises in the party. But here, how much are people paying for as membership due, which is even not there? You understand? Because most Nigerians don't even believe, why should we pay the money? So now political parties are at the mercy of individuals who have the deeper pocket. So, but where you have this happening, you have a level playing ground for all, because you can embark on your campaign, okay, without necessarily waiting for one individual to dictate. Okay, it's not that this money given to you are going to squander it the way you want. It's subject to INEC auditing, periodic auditing. So parties must be prudent about. It's not that they'll give you money to go and no. It's public fund. It doesn't belong to the man on the throne. It doesn't belong to the man in power. So you approve it, fine, but it is their constitutional right. That does not. I don't see how that will be a variable for influencing the decisions of opposition political parties. No.
We now take a short break. The news continue in just a moment.
From the 36 states of Nigeria to the legislative chambers where laws are made. Laws that shape healthy living, developmental strides, and challenges. Do you know that your future begins and lies with your state legislature? Stay informed, stay educated, stay connected, and stay empowered. It is a weekly affair where we keep you abreast with legislative stories that matter. From the state assemblies, only on NTA Parliament. Join us via DSTV, GoTV, StarTimes, and free-to-air platforms. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Welcome back. You're still watching NTA Parliamentary News. Moving on, the House of Representatives has expressed concern over the alleged use of harmful chemicals as preservatives for frozen foods and other edible commodities in Nigeria. Adopting a motion by Representatives Chike Okafor, the House describes the trend as a major threat to public health and the well-being of millions of Nigerians. The House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, NAFDAC, Healthcare Services, as well as safety standards and regulations, were given a 4-week deadline to investigate the public health concerns and make recommendations.
Reports and allegations on the use of dangerous chemicals such as formalin, sniper, kerosene, and other harmful preservatives in frozen foods and other consumable items. Worried that these chemicals are often used to extend the shelf life of food products, which can be harmful for consumption, cancerous, and damage organs. NAFDAC, the Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, and the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, saddled with the responsibility of ensuring food safety, have been alleged to exhibit complicity and negligence.
Meanwhile, lawmakers expressed grief over the recent tanker explosion in Issa village in Niger State, which claimed many lives and left others injured, while calling for rehabilitation of Bida-Diko Expressway to forestall road accidents.
Federal Road Maintenance Agency to immediately mobilize resources and contractors to commence full rehabilitation, expansion, and completion of the Bida-Agay-Lapailam-Batediko Road, especially the sections between Bida and Agay. Mandate the Federal Road Safety Corps and relevant agencies to intensify enforcement of safety standards for tanker and heavy-duty operations, ensuring compliance with roadworthiness, loading procedures, and emergency response protocols.
The Senate has restated commitments to the welfare of serving and retired staff of the National Assembly as a priority by strengthening the Assembly's pension structure in line with Pension Act 2004. This was during a one-day public hearing on a bill to amend the National Assembly Service Pension Board Act 2023. National Assembly correspondent Issa Mohammed has the details.
The public hearing brought together different associations from the National Assembly and representatives of PENCOM who exchanged ideas on how best to improve on the PENCOM scheme. Representative of the President of the Senate and the Chairman of the committee highlighted benefits of the amendment to revert the pension board to contributory pension scheme, reconstitute the membership of the board, provide template for payment of gratuities, as well as establish a special fund for the scheme.
We must seek ways to refine this law, to close its gap, strengthen its implementation, and learn it more closely with modern realities and the best practice in the world.
This public hearing provides stakeholders with a voice in shaping laws that affect their welfare.
The proposed amendment is aimed at providing a workable and pragmatic pension framework for the National Assembly staff.
However, some of the stakeholders differ in opinions to the amendment.
We would also advise that the provision of the bill should really be looked at further, because there are some provisions that are not really incongruent with the Pension Reform Act.
The increment of gratuity at 500% of annual gross emolument upon retirement, as against the proposed 300% of annual gross emolument to be paid to the retired staff on the terminal of last day of exit.
The committee assured of reviewing all contributions aimed at adding value to the bill. From the National Assembly, Isa Muhammad, NTA News.
Nigeria and Algeria have affirmed to work together to strengthen democracy on the continent of Africa through parliamentary exchanges beneficial to both nations. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has signed a memorandum of understanding to this effect with the Speaker, National Assembly of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, Braham Bogali, during a working visit to the North African country. The Memorandum of Understanding seeks to strengthen the rules of law in both countries through shared experiences and establish a Nigeria-Algeria Joint Parliamentary Committee guided by the principles and rules of international law, as well as the Charter and principles of the African Union. Both parliaments pledged to undertake joint initiatives on issues of common interest in the meetings of regional and international parliamentary bodies, particularly the Pan-African Parliament, the African Parliamentary Union, and the Inter-Parliamentary Union. When I take a trip to our state houses of assembly, where Cross River State Governor Basi Otu has signed into law the College of Agriculture, Science and Technology, Obubra Amendment Bill, and the Office of the Surveyor General Bill. The governor affirms that the new law will sharpen education, land administration, and overall governance in tandem with his administration's People First agenda. Justina Etim reports.
The amendment of the College of Agriculture, Science and Technology Bill elevates the college from monotonic to polytechnic, while adding science and technology to its mandate is to enable the institution benefits from the Tertiary Education Trust Fund financing. In the same vein, Governor Tu says the Office of the Surveyor General Law will give the agency its first footing, defining its roles, powers, and structure.
What we're doing is to put our state on a proper pedestal for growth. Without education, we go nowhere. And it's very clear that this issue of holding certificate, which has nothing to, and even the segregation against Nigerian education now is almost thicker than racism. When it gets to even the higher where they say Nigerian professor, and then you call some other Nigerians their professor, then you know that the division is quite short. So we must do something to actually close that gap.
Speaker, Cross River State's House of Assembly speaks further on the law.
This bill is made up of 4 parts and 23 sections. Part 1 deals with the establishment, functions, and powers of the Office of the Surveyor General. 2 deals with staff, administration, and structure of the Office of the Surveyor General. 3 deals with financial provision of Office of the Surveyor General. Part 4 deals with miscellaneous general provisions. Your Excellency, This bill, when assented into law, will adequately take care of the office of the Surveyor General, which is historic given the overdue need of this law.
The new laws are expected to facilitate institutional stability and open fresh development pathways. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
As global efforts is ongoing to tackle environmental challenges, Nasarawa State House of Assembly has adopted the reports of its Standing Committee on Environment and Housing on a bill to provide for policy on climate change, actions, and the establishment of a Climate Change Advisory Committee. Adams Abdulkadir completes the report.
In what can be best attributed to intensive treatment and thorough deliberations on a bill aiming to achieve a green revolution and to provide solutions on a way to achieve environmental resilience and a safer society. The House unanimously adopted the recommendations and observations of the committee.
The following parts of the bill be amended to include climate change, irrigation, and adoption. Section 1, afforestation and reforestation, statewide tree planting initiative, targeting 20% forest cover by 2030, and strict enforcement of sustainable forest law.
In the meantime, a new private member bill sponsored by the member representing Lafia North State constituency, Eson Meriga, seeking the establishment of a state multiple-door courthouse and other matters connected thereto, was introduced. Meanwhile, the House also passed for assent the bill to establishment the Latu Arafat Specialist Hospital Akwanga and the bill to increase the retirement age of magistrates, Sharia court sole judges, and customary court sole judges from 60 years to 65 years.
For magistrates, Sharia court sole judges, customary court sole judges, area court judges, and customary court judges, increase of retirement age service law 2025 and other matters connected thereto, third reading and pass.
From the State House of Assembly, Adams Abdulkadir, NTA News.
And this is the much we can take for now. On behalf of the production crew, thanks for watching. I am Abubakar Galadima.